us later. Mrs. Lama, can you start recording
Yes.
this session?
Yes, she has already started it.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much, everybody, for joining in.
Yeah.
And thank you for our speakers for showing readiness to participate in tonight's event. We are really pleased to have each participant, each colleague with us tonight. On behalf of U-innovate team, including Mr. Sherny and Mrs. Lema, who are present with us, who are attending tonight's event, Mrs. Zurgati, we hope that she will join in tonight, and the other members, I fear that I forget their names, but Mrs. Nuha Damak, Mrs. Sawsen, can you help me, Sir Habib, the other members of the team, U-innovate team, please?
Maybe Mrs. Atwi could help you, Kamel.
Okay. I'm so sorry if you cannot remember all the names anyway. So we are not alone, and there are other members with us. And I would like to thank you, thank each one of them for all the efforts that they are making to make this event possible, and for coordinating the work with the other colleagues. So I would like at the beginning to frame our event, and especially the topic that we have chosen for tonight's webinar. It is, of course, related to the use of textbooks. Now, using textbooks is really a very interesting topic, and on the basis of colleagues, I mean teachers' feedback, teachers really feel that this is a very interesting topic and a pertinent topic to their work, and they need help concerning the management of the lessons in the current textbooks that we are using. Admittingly, I would like to say that it is really a controversial issue, and we have to be cautious with it, in the sense that we do not want to offend anyone, especially the textbook designers in our country who have made great efforts to produce those textbooks. And after all, we are all human beings, and in case there are some gaps or mistakes in the textbooks, so that is natural because we are all human beings. What we are trying to do is actually to inspire teachers and push them to be more creative and more innovative in their teaching methodologies and in their use of the textbooks. Many teachers certainly complain, but we try to give them kind of help and a kind of freedom in managing the current contents. So I'm sure that tonight our speakers are going to inspire us with
Si Kamel, hello.
It seems we've lost Si Kamel. So.
which
yeah, we lost the sound.
Okay. Over to you, Si Kamel. Yeah, it seems we've lost you for a moment.
Actually, can you hear me, please? Can you hear me, please?
Please. Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, Si Kamel, we've lost you for a few seconds, but now you're back.
Okay, so I just repeat what I was saying. I said that another point which is crucial and I want to add, the work we are doing is actually based on research evidence, in the sense that I'm going to refer to an article that will be published on U-innovate group on Facebook entitled Pre-Planned Teaching Materials. helpful scaffold or debilitating crutch. Material that, with reference to Jane Crawford reaches the conclusion that textbooks are really helpful for teachers, despite the different views that we can find in relation to their use in general. One of the views is that called deficiency view, the deficiency view and the difference view. According to the deficiency view, textbooks compensate for teachers' deficiencies, and the difference view considers that textbooks are carriers of best decisions because they were made by experts, in fact. Now, one of the views considers that texts, in general, textbooks, I mean, kill teachers' creativity. And for this reason, it is not necessary that teachers should slavishly follow textbooks. And I think that tonight our speakers are going to account for this idea, in the sense that they are going to bring some practical ideas to the field. The same happens for the learners who do not this is a very important point to consider. At the end, I'd like to say that
Kamel, I'm sorry, connection. Yes. There are connection troubles, so sometimes we lose your sound. I mean,
okay. Now, what about now, please?
Yeah, better.
Okay, I'll use another device. Sorry, just a second, please.
Yeah, better.
Just a second, please.
We can hear you. It's fine.
Okay, just a second, please. Okay, can you hear me now?
Better. Yes, better.
Okay, thank you. Now, I said that textbooks have important roles.
Yeah.
They are useful maps or plans that show where a teacher is in a language program. Textbooks in general allow for negotiation, accountability, and orientation. And now I'm quoting Jane Crawford. So we will be posting this article on the Facebook group. So is there a repetition in my voice, please, in the sound that you can hear, or it's fine?
It's fine. Yes,
exactly. There is no echoing. Make sure that you mute the other, maybe the other device. For the time being, it's okay. Your voice is okay.
So I'll just give. Yes, I'll just give the floor to our speakers, and they are actually ESA project innovative teachers working with the British Council, and the floor is yours, Mrs. Sawsen Abid. Could you just start your talk, please? Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Kamel. Thank you for introducing the topic, and thank you for the invitation to be the inspired for today. I welcome to you all. I just hope this presentation would be, useful to you all. Now I'm trying to share my screen, see Kamel? Okay, I just hope.
Yes, please, go ahead. Now we can see it.
I can't share.
It's loading, by the way.
It's on its way? Okay. So I'm sharing my presentation. Do you see it?
It's already shared, so please go ahead.
Fine, great. So let me start. Okay. Yeah, let me start telling that adapting textbooks for me is really important to generate deeper learning. And when we say deeper learning, it's that learning not in the traditional sense. It means they use what they learn, okay? And when we talk about textbooks, and I'm here as an English teacher for preparatory school. I teach 7th, 8th, and 9th grades. And I always see the textbook as a link between the teacher and the students. from one side and the syllabus from the other side. So, I mean, this is a kind of relationship of guidance, and at the same time, we trace it. We trace the content by the textbooks. However, to begin with, if you ask the students to open the textbook on a certain page and look at their faces, then you just notice a reluctance, boredom, and monotony, especially if it is repeated every time. But if you make use of authentic supplementary materials and deliver the content in a very creative way, then you will create motivation and generate deeper learning. I mean, remember the quote of Benjamin Franklin? Now, tell me and I forget, teach me and I may remember, just involve me and I will learn. Now, that means if you want the students to be good learners, then you have to involve them. Now, still, however, we have to remember the purpose of the textbook that can serve different purposes for the teachers as a core resource. Now, I feel secure when I have the textbook with me and I see where I am, especially, I mean, in just before the test or after, and the whole year, I mean, breakthrough. So then it's also a source of supplementary material. Example is the pictures that you have, or any kind of activity assigned can be simply a supplementary material. It should also be as an inspiration for classroom activities. And finally, as a curriculum, because it's done to be followed in a collective way, let's say. So all students should be following the same syllabus after all. However, now if you look at many pictures, the teacher will, I mean, use many resources, right? Sorry for this. I just hope you're hearing me. Do you?
Please go ahead, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, please carry on, yes.
Yeah, I just checked. So we should also remember that textbooks are only one source of information among many others. And it's up to the teachers to adapt sometimes the process, sometimes the delivery, and sometimes the content to meet the students' needs. And here in the pictures, there are kind of realia here, pictures and notebooks and worksheets. We may also use technology and websites, or simply we just use, I mean, okay, we change the delivery. So we may work in pairs, or we may work in groups. So it all depends on the objective of the lesson. Now, we might ask ourselves the question, how can we adapt the textbooks? Now, the answer is easy, and it's there. It's everyone's activity. Most teachers create role plays and make the the conversations or the dialogues in the book acted or enacted. That's simply make it lifelike.
Mrs. Abid? Mr. Kamel?
I thought I am the only one who lost touch but I think I'm not the only one.
No, you're not the only one. It seems that we that Mrs. Abid, we've lost her for a moment. So we are waiting to see her back on board. I think that she was talking about adapting
no, we
textbooks.
Can't hear you. I'm sorry, but she's just sent us a message.
Yeah.
We cannot hear you,
Sawsen. I'm here back. I knew you didn't because I had that problem of connection. It's simply because my phone was on.
Back, yeah.
Yeah. So I carry on giving examples. I just share my screen again.
Yeah, please.
So here I started showing examples of how to adapt the textbooks through adding supplementary materials, such as pictures. Okay, we all have portfolios full of pictures with us, and you just may use to make lessons clearer. And remember, visuals can be more helpful if they are on the worksheet and on the board. So here is an example of housework or house chores. And we can also use pictures for other activities such as running dictation, and it's so...
Could you share your screen again, please?
Sorry, you can't see my screen? You still can't see my screen?
See, Kamel, it's already there.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah,
it's okay,
yeah, it's okay, thank you.
Yeah, pictures as supportive materials are very helpful because we are helping visual students. Here we have an example of running dictation. So it's pictures and at the same time physical movement. So they really enjoy the activity and at the same time they learn new vocab or new telling time, let's say. So it all depends on your objective. One more colorful tool is the stickers. You may give the students stickers to write, stickers to write one word or one sentence. It all depends. And then when they finish, they may collect the information on their notebooks as a list or as a paragraph. It's all up to you. Now, another very useful, way is when you teach through drama and theater. Here we are acting a small dialogue. It's a close encounter. At the beginning of the year, you can enlarge the imagination of the students through giving them scenario of meeting an alien. Students can take a mask and use it, and at the same time they use their physical movements and express themselves in English. So it's a kind of integration of different skills, and it's at the same time kind of show. So it lightens the content, and they learn in an implicit, very spontaneous way. And at the same time, they enlarge their imagination. Another tool I use is I create scenarios while preparing worksheets, or I create it with my students. It makes things very easy, very funny when you create scenarios with your students, and mainly in the group session. And when we finish, they will be very proud of their product. They will say, this is our play, we did it, and we're going to enact it and make it very successful. It's really helpful to learn a new language, new vocab, and at the same time feel a friendly atmosphere, a collaborative atmosphere where everyone takes a share. And it involves all the students. Sometimes I ask the students to draw a picture to support our scene or our act, and they feel like a member of very high importance. So I really like this, and it's so useful in the group session. Okay. Creating worksheets. Okay, I see many worksheets online, and I sometimes make myself worksheets, and I base these worksheets on visuals mainly. I need the students to take pictures with them on their notebooks, or I need them to compare and contrast. Or here in pronunciation, we sometimes have the focus on pronunciation, so I need them to take them on their notebooks. That's why I just have a worksheet where I keep the objectives, but at the same time I support it with different activities and pictures. Okay. Sometimes we use texts as a consolidation tool. We keep the same text of the textbook and we use it. For example, here I'm using it as a consolidation for the past simple, and it really helps to see the same text of the textbook, but now it's I mean, a kind of reinvesting the tense. This is with the seventh form, a kind of revision for the past simple. And here there are many rules to be consolidated, and it will be easier to check the students' abilities, let's say, and memorization of the rules. So it's really helpful too. Well, we have to keep in mind that this generation is digital, and it's I mean, technology is their word. Now I'm trying to be closer to technology by giving my students the opportunity to use technology either in class or at home. Now here's an example. This is on storyboard that I think, and they may go home and create a meeting, and they create a dialogue, and when they come into class they may enact it. Here the students feel very proud because they use technology, and their their story is published online, so they feel very proud to participate online. We can also use educational online platforms. Here it's Flipgrid. Flipgrid is like YouTube, but it's all educational. Students can create videos. You can create a class where your students can create videos. Here is a screenshot of one of my Flipgrids where the students talk about Tunisia, and then you can share this with other teachers. Here it's the same. And the use of social media, we usually notice that students just use Facebook for chatting and trivial things. Now, one of my students has prepared a video to promote tourism in Tunisia, but then she shared it on Facebook. And look here, there is a site, it's called Tunis Lil Akhbar. They found that the video is very interesting and they shared it. The two students came to me running, very happy that their video is shared on Facebook worldwide, and they said, they called them and they had an interview simply because they shared the video on Facebook. So this builds their personality. Another way of supporting, textbooks is when you gamify the content. There are many ways you can gamify the content, and you can even bring balloons and, let the students just blow them, burst them. It's fine. Nothing will happen. They'll just learn, but at the same time have fun. Okay? I don't know. I thought I had another picture. No. That was about gamifying the content. On another side, we can tackle the issues as life issues. The example here is bullying. Bullying, I mean, is not simply life. It's not simply a lesson in books. No, it should be handled as a life, I mean, issue. It's everywhere. So we have to campaign against it. Here we are campaigning, as you can see. We took this and we shared it online. We had a silent show here, silent show because the students are shy, but at the same time they want to say no to bullying. But then after the silent show, they had scenarios and they enacted them. They put them on YouTube, and finally we had a site against bullying where we had our school activity against this. Of course, I'd like to thank Mrs. Mrs. Mune and her students who had the same process, and they had and we finally shared each other's activities so that we know how to tackle this issue, but not as a lesson on the book. It's a life issue. Also, we may celebrate international events. Here we are celebrating, be smart, be safe online. It's a kind of project work we had on eTwinning, and that was last year, but I didn't bring pictures. So just that. And of course, we had the students participate in creating videos to make the people aware, or students aware, of internet safety rules. That was really useful. We teach life lessons. Wow, this was, these are pictures taken from maybe last week's lesson with Mrs. Muna. It was really fun and at the same time inspirational, because our students shared their experiences with family responsibilities. And at the end, students may change their opinions and their behavior just after listening students' witnesses and experience about the topic of sharing housework. Okay, now this is again another example of life lessons. This was our participation in Building Back Greener last year with the Economist Foundation, where our students expressed themselves to say time to save the earth through many pictures. And in these pictures, we have solutions. I really loved the creative way of finding pictures to say stop pollution. Here are some examples of our students. And also at the same time, they had comments, they had paragraphs, they posted articles on the Economist Foundation. And it always leads to a feeling of satisfaction and a great progress on the side of the students. And here, you may also go beyond the classroom and organize events. You can invite people. For example, here we had the conference about eating healthy, where we invited the doctor, and we also invited Mr. Mohammed Wudun. Here's a Turkish teacher. He talked about different table manners in Turkey, and the students, and he brought the students some Turkish food, and we exchanged, ideas about Tunisian and Turkish table manners. At the end, I asked the students to prepare videos about, minute health. Everyone has a minute to say how to be healthy. The challenge was won by different activities, and they really had a lot of fun while learning. Just starting from the lesson, let's keep fit in the 7th form. They really enjoyed, and they learned a lot from comparing and contrasting. Now, another activity is when you stay connected with others from around the world. Here I show you a picture where we sent a culture box. Here are our things. You can see them, sheshia, small card. our flags here, and some information, some postcards here, all about Tunisia. And this was to Taiwan. Taiwanese students really, had a new idea about Tunisia and enjoyed the cultural box. Another activity is when you invite associations and involve the students in real world discussions. I had students who never talked English, but then on the day of talking about accidents, students really impressed me by talking about their experiences with the road and road safety. Some of them lost someone dear. Others are talking about safety rules that they must follow every day. And they finally participated. Here they are. They're talking about their experiences, and they participated in an awareness campaign against accidents. They really, felt very important. Coming to the end, I think the use of art to express, oneself. You never know how the students are creative until you ask them to express the issue, for example, of here it's pollution, yes, here it's accidents, here the fires of Australia last year or the year before. So students will just impress you by their abilities in art. And of course, you may ask them to write a short paragraph to describe it. I'd like to recommend you all to build and strengthen their identity, to be Tunisian, to be proud to be Tunisian. Through strengthening their identity by preparing projects, by showing their clothes, their food. It all, built an identity, the one that is a Tunisian one, not any other country. I just have no pictures, but you may bring food, you may describe all Tunisian, sorts of information. This was about the identity. Now, after the COVID-19, I experienced a lovely experience, where you let the students be the source of information. Now you ask them to seek information about COVID and then express it in a video. And this video is to be shared online and use it as awareness tools. And that was new for them. So they had to make their researches, and they finally campaigned against to show safety rules here and here. They had videos to explain COVID-19 in English, in French, in Arabic, and they accepted the challenge to be the source of information online. Students are very creative when you give them trust, when you give them the hope for a better future. Okay, that was all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Sawsen.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Welcome. Yes, sure. Yes.
Sorry if sometimes the internet has failed me a little bit. I couldn't follow some of your slides, but at the end I could reach the final outcome. And thank you very much for all these insightful ideas, Mrs. Sawsen.
Yeah, now, thank you. I'm sure, Mr. Kamel, I'm sure these are daily activities for all the teachers. It's only that they just, they do not give it the importance. If you give it the importance, then you will see the change in students' progress and personality. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you for all the efforts. Mrs. Muna, so you will just carry on.
Here I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, Abid.
Si Kamel and Mrs. Muna, before, yeah. Before you start, would love to, and we like to welcome our dear colleagues, namely Mrs. Najat Hosni, Mr. Lamjad Labidi, and see Rashid Najjar with us. Can you hear us? Can you hear me, Mrs. Najjar?
Welcome to
Mr.
our
Namzad
colleague.
and
Sorry,
Sushi.
I couldn't see the list, but thank you for reminding of that. And we are really pleased to have them. If they want to say a word, they are more than welcome. Please go ahead, Mrs. Najjar.
Yes, hello, everybody. I'm so pleased to be here with you. It's really a pleasure to meet you and listen and hear from you again and learn from your experiences. Yeah, so I'm always happy to be with you. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs.
Yes,
Hosni. Thank you.
Mr.
Maybe
Abid,
maybe a word from Silamjit.
Yes.
Hi, everybody.
Sure. Hello, Mr. Lamjit. How are you?
It's great connecting with you. I'm happy to be with you. Maybe I'd like to listen to the second presenter, and maybe later I'll give a few words. Now I just ask if Mr. Milad Lahsini is here with us, or he won't show up, or he's gonna join us later.
Thank you, Mr. Abidi. Okay. See Habib, because you were in charge of that, could you just say a word about that, Habib?
Yes, Kamel, thank you. We hope that he could join us maybe by the end of this webinar due to some force majeure reasons related to family commitments. Milad Lahsini said that he'll do his best to join us or to join in this webinar. Hope that he could make it even by the end of this webinar. Otherwise, we promise that we're going to have him in one of our upcoming webinars. So hopefully he will make it by the end of this webinar today.
Sorry. Yes, thank you very much, Habib. We'd like to apologize for this inconvenience, which is out of our zone of control, actually. And we hope to meet him.
Thank you, Kamel. Maybe could we check, Kamel, sorry, could we check if there's any other colleague with us? Maybe we haven't seen him,
yes,
or we didn't notice.
Rashid, maybe I cannot. Is Mr. Rashid with us? Najjar? Mr. Najjar?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Hello, Mr. Rashid. Nice to hear
you.
you.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Glad to hear you, to see some of you, many of you. And I'd like to thank you for choosing this very interesting topic. Adapting course books or textbooks.
Thank you very much. Welcome.
Yeah.
We'd like to hear about from you, Mr. Najjar, on the basis of your experience, maybe if you want to say a few words about that.
Yeah, as a former textbook writer, I may say a few things, and Silamjid is also here with us. So yeah, we'll say a few things about textbook writing, about being creative, adapting textbooks, and so on.
Okay. So before closing the webinar, later on, we'll give you a chance to say a few words about the topic, you and Mr. Labidi, okay?
Okay.
Yes, Habib, you want to add something?
No, over to you. I'm not sure that Mr. Kharoubi is with us. So I have seen his family name. I'm not sure whether it's him or not. So if
we have
Mr.
in Jerba, I don't know, maybe a teacher from Jerba, I guess.
Okay. I see that. So over to you, Kamel. Maybe a few words to introduce our next speaker.
Yeah. Yes, Mrs. Bouhlel, right?
Yeah, I am here.
Could you just introduce yourself, Mrs. Bouhlel, to our dear audience, please?
1 second, please.
Yes.
Okay, I would like to. I'm sorry for this.
No worries. Do you have a screen to be shared?
Yeah. I can't find it while it's here. It's charging. Well, good evening, everybody. Good evening, dear friends, dear colleagues, inspectors. I would like, before introducing myself, I would like to tell Mrs. Sawsen Abid that you are the boss. Did I tell you that before? I think I think you are a real source of inspiration, and I'm really proud we've collaborated together. That was really an honor. Well, right now, I'm just waiting for my
we're close
PowerPoint.
Friends. No, I'm not the boss. We are so dear friends. And it all started through our project Works. Simply, but then I'm a close friend to you. Aren't I?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you are. Of course
you are our source of inspiration too, Madame Moune. Really.
Thank you very much. Well, right now I'm waiting for my PowerPoint presentation to be shared, but I don't know, it's not being shared. Are you seeing anything on screen?
No, yet. Could you do you know how to share the presentation? Do you have?
Yeah,
are you
I know,
facing
but
difficulties?
it's there. Yeah, it's there, but it's charging, but it stopped. Do you think I should share it again one more time?
Please do it. Please do it again. Try again.
Reshare, Madame Moune, reshare again.
Okay, I'll do it. Here and here. I don't know. I think we'll have to wait for a few seconds. Not sure. Well, I don't know, but it's not being shared.
Kamel, do you have a copy of Mrs. Bouhlel's presentation?
You know, I'm so sorry for that, because I'm using the iPad and they don't have it on the iPad. I do apologize for that.
Moune, I can help. Please send it to me via Messenger, and I will share it for you.
Okay. I'm sorry for the inconvenience.
No, it's not a problem. It happens. Don't worry about that.
Okay, I'll try to.
Kamel, could you till Mrs. Bouhlel gets ready, could you please go over or just mention a few points from the previous presentation, or shall I do that?
Yes, please go ahead. No problem. But actually, there were many interesting points in Mrs. Abid's presentation, and I can remember the last slides about working outside of or going beyond the classroom, which is a very interesting point, and thinking outside the box, which is referred to as the classroom, actually. We need to follow this approach or apply these ideas, and relating what the students see in class to the real world, and conducting through projects and through field trips and so on. So this is really very pertinent work, and it's highly appreciated, I guess. Do you want to add something else, Sil Habib? So the presentation is there, by the way.
You've mentioned some interesting points. What I would like to add is that one of the ideas that was mentioned by Mrs. Abid was the following: textbooks offer a sense of security to teachers, and that's a pertinent remark. I would like also to say that we, whether we are the teachers and the educators present in this webinar or other teachers nationwide, we all agree that after nearly more than 15 or even 20 years, our textbooks have become obsolete, and we need another vision. We need maybe to think of renewing our textbooks. we are glad that teachers are trying their best, are creative, are innovative, and are trying to add and enrich textbooks. Kamel, without any further ado, I think that Mrs. Bouhlel is ready. So over to you, Mrs. Bouhlel.
It's okay. Go ahead, Mrs. Bouhlel.
All right, thank you very much. So very briefly, I'll introduce myself. So my name is Mouneh Bouhlel. I teach at Ibn Sina Secondary School in Sawsen. Well, I've been teaching for 19 years. I'm also a British Council coordinator. We won the International School Award 2020-2023. I'm also an ambassador for the Global School Alliance and a member of Leap Ed as well. So this is just a brief bio for me. I have chosen teaching a journey of innovation and inspiration as a title for my presentation because it's all about adapting textbooks to motivate learners. My first slide raises the issue of whether EFL official documents in Tunisia are time-worn. In other words, have they become outdated? Now, before I speak about anything, I would like to say that we should recognize the huge effort done to design these textbooks. After all, they serve as a guide for teachers and they provide useful help. And they deal, of course, with the main curriculum, which will be tested later. But it's high time we updated these textbooks. We need it, and because we need to adapt these textbooks to the needs of our learners. Because I teach at secondary school, I'll be mainly concerned with textbooks for first, second, third, and fourth forms. And most of these books were created between 2003 and 2008, if I'm not mistaken. And as a teacher, what can I do to draw the interest of my learners to the curriculum taught in class? Because some of the material is a little bit, if we can say, it's outdated, because some of the books are now 19 years old, even older than some of my students. And this is a generation, this young generation is also called the cyber generation. So how can I keep my learners interested? First of all, I think that I had to recognize or look for the outdated material. Some of the texts, for example, Space Tourism for the fourth form, it is a text that dates 2007, I believe. Some topics, example, text versus emails in the second form, most of the songs, and some of the people or characters we teach about, like Sade in the first form or David Beckham in the second form. So what we should do then, I think now comes the role for supplementary material. And we should bear in mind that we have to stick to the main curriculum, I mean the core vocabulary, the grammar, and give ourselves room to innovate in the pre-stage, the while, or the post, or even the three of them. This is possible when we adapt new and up-to-date material and techniques. A teacher needs to bring life to his class to avoid being embarrassed by the outstanding students. And honestly, I've been put in such, I put the word between inverted commas, embarrassing situations when some of the outstanding students asked me, "Miss, this is really old. What do we need this for?" Then I had, of course, to convince these students that we can, if you like, innovate, and but we cannot get rid of it. All right, because this is the main curriculum. I would like also to say that I don't use the textbooks when dealing with the first unit for the third form and the fourth forms. I have to, or I do provide the reading and listening material myself. I have the students watch so many videos, but I stick to the main topic, all right, and try to find texts or listening passages or videos that contain, if you like, the same core vocabulary needed, the same grammar points, and so on. I also launched projects on some crucial topics, example, tourism, bullying, gender equality, video games, and maybe not all, but most of the issues dealt with in class. I also collaborate with other teachers and have my learners interact with their learners to discuss issues. I have a class debate on specific issues, and I have the learners play games about vocabulary, grammar, writing tasks, and so on. I have prepared some samples. For example, in the first year, lesson number 3, Queen of Soul. Now, Queen of Soul talks about Sade. I myself, honestly, when I first met this lesson, I've never heard of Sade before, and I had to do some researches. I had to listen to her songs. Then I taught the lesson at the beginning of my career. But what I found out is that students were not really attracted by the singer. So I decided to change the title from Queen of Soul to Kings of K-pop. I just put in mind that I have to keep the same vocabulary around the music and words. I focused on the yes or no and WH questions, and also on the simple past tense for the language part. For the skills, I focus on reading, into writing a biography, and speaking, writing an interview with a favorite singer or band, and of course enacting this dialogue. So Kings of K-pop, or Kings of Korean pop, I have chosen BTS. Sorry, I have chosen BTS as a group, as a band, because I know that everybody knows about BTS. It is true that I found in my class that there are some real fans of BTS and some other hated BTS, but at least everybody knows who BTS are. This is just for enact an interview with your favorite singer about, and I gave them the main topics. They had to work in groups and to write yes or no questions and W8 questions. Here is because they are not really high achievers. I allowed them to read from their notes. And these are some notes that I wrote on the board. I took these from their dialogues. For example, where did you study? I study at home. And here we had to change the tense from simple present to simple past. So I worked on the WH questions and the simple past tense. And here is a sample from a biography of Michael Jackson. Another lesson, lesson number 15, John Grisham first form. I added a listening, a TV interview, and I focused on fiction-related vocabulary. I first of all started in the pre-activity, in the pre-stage. I mean, I started with showing them this picture of a courtroom and introduced them to vocabulary related to the courtroom. You know, example like jury, I don't know, victim, and words like that. Then I had them see a part of a TV interview with John Grisham, the man on the left. I prepared the worksheet for that. And of course, I focused on listening, reading, and writing. Another example is with the fourth form, space tourism, holidaying, walking tour, the brain drain. I think in these lessons, because they are important issues, some videos are a necessity, pictures as well. I also had my students have some online conferences, a class debate to develop their critical thinking ability. I have this worksheet for the brain drain. This is just an example. I have my students introduced to vocabulary like push factors and pull factors. Then they watched 2 videos about the how to reduce brain drain. And the other video was about what is the positive side of the brain drain on the sending countries, which is something which was not dealt with in the textbook. It was a way to broaden their mind and have them think outside the box and look at the issue from another side. I also had them watch a video about Edinburgh. This is in lesson number 5, holidaying, 4th form. And in the textbook, we only had a very short advertisement about Edinburgh, and that's it. So I chose to have a long advertisement, a commercial, in fact, and of course we had a worksheet. International exchange. We had some gifts, if you like, that I have exchanged with the country of Nepal, and the main theme was holidays and tourism. We also had an online conference. This is another online conference with a school from Costa Rica. We had this conference this week. It contained 3 parts. The first 2 parts were about the touristic sites in Tunisia, and part number 3 was about schooling in Tunisia. Next, I had also my students work on project works, for example, 3rd form, holidays, survey and statistics. The students went out in the street and they asked people about their activities on their holidays, and they prepared a chart. And you can see it there. For the 4th form, Education for All, I had a group work and a presentation. They had watched a video about the education of women and girls in Africa. We had a group work. I gave them these big white sheets on which they had to take notes. Then we stuck these sheets on the board, and students had to explain their own ideas and opinions. Now we come to the collaboration with Mrs. Sawsen Abid. We chose the issue of family sharing responsibility. First of all, I started with a class discussion. We had sat in a circle and we talked about the affective roles, the instrumental roles in a family. Then we had an online conference. That was an amazing experience for both students in our school and Khaznadar Pioneer Prep School. Here they discussed the issue and talked about some personal experience. Again, collaboration with Mrs. Sawsen Abid. The bullying issue, we had a project work. Students prepared the plays. I mean by prepared, they wrote the script and enacted these plays.
Ms. Monet, I'm sorry, yeah.
Yes.
We lost you the time that you talked about the family issues with, I mean, in collaboration with me. Could you repeat, please?
I'm sorry for that. So, can you hear me now?
Yes, we do.
You mean here? Do you mean this slide, Mrs. Sawsen?
Yes, exactly. So you had your class discussion, and then?
We sat in a circle, as you can see, and everybody tried to, or I triggered, because they were very shy. I triggered them to speak about their personal experience, their relationship with their parents. We even tackled the issue of generation gap, the misunderstanding between parents and their children. At the beginning, they were a little bit shy, but then slowly they started feeling at ease and starting speaking out, if you like. Then we had this online conference, an amazing online conference with Mrs. Sawsen. All right. Some of my students talked about their personal experience. They even gave advice. And it was an amazing experience.
I'd like to let you know that my students changed their attitudes after hearing your students. I'm sorry for this.
That's great.
After hearing your students' experiences, they told me that they saw themselves kind of mirror. So that's why they started changing, and now they're helping in house chores. I feel really proud to have the impact on their family lives, you see?
You just remind me of something that I asked my students to do. When I asked them about whether you help your parents, one student said, I do not help my parents. All right. I sometimes take out the trash. and I said, would you please, now today when you go home, would you please enter the house, have a kiss on your mom's cheek, and do something with the housework. I don't know, whatever you like. And please tell me next time about the reaction of your mother. And he did. And when we met again, I asked him, what was the reaction of your mother? And he said, I saw a kind of spark in her eyes. And I said, what does it? Yeah, and I said, what does it mean? He said, I think she was happy. And I said, yeah. And I said, and how did you feel? He said, I felt a little bit guilty because I didn't help before. And I just realized how tired she was and how overwhelmed she was. And from now on, I promise I will give a hand. And I said, that's great.
Yeah, I think this makes you even prouder to have an impact on someone else's life.
Yeah.
Let it be students, I mean, a whole class. That is a great feeling of satisfaction.
Yeah,
and today,
it was.
Ms. Monet, I just remembered today's session. We had some videos. Students, I asked students to present themselves and their families. And I even asked their, parents to introduce themselves in English. You never know the satisfaction that I had when I saw their parents striving to speak English. And they
that's wonderful.
did it. Oh, lovely.
That's wonderful.
I really thank them, and I feel I made the difference. Simply when you see collaboration, when you see, helping their children to do well, and at the same time learning English. Oh, so satisfactory.
Yeah, that's really. I told you, you are an inspiration.
Oh, thank you. You are our source of inspiration too, Madam.
Thank you.
Okay.
So I carry on with the slides. I'll just talk very briefly about our collaboration about the issue of bullying. We started. It started as a project work. Well, I would like to tell you that the issue of bullying is mentioned, if you like, or is tackled in the 4th form and a little bit in the 3rd form. So I had my students write and enact plays, draw, write poems, acrostic mainly, write a speech as part of a campaign against bullying, deal with a poster as kind of advertisement. Some of them chose to deal with PowerPoint, and another group created a website. So these are 2 plays written and enacted by my students, 2 different classes. This is the work of students that we pinned on the wall in our classroom. You can see some drawings, some beautiful drawings. This is a speech and some poems. This is the poster prepared by some of the students, okay, against bullying. PowerPoint presentation that this was about cyberbullying, and the website. Again, with the collaboration with Mrs. Sawsen Abid, the project exchange. My learners answered a questionnaire sent by Khaznadat Pioneer Prep School, and we recorded videos to thank the same school for their fruitful collaboration, and it was shared on social media. My final comments. I would like to say that it is true that looking for new material that goes with the official program can be nerve-wracking, frustrating, and time-consuming, but the result is worth all the effort and sacrifice done by the teacher. What we really need to have is an attitude which is visionary and future-oriented. The result is simply rewarding because you see excitement and interest in your learners' eyes and actions. You also see them grow in more self-confident people, able to think in a critical way and take action. This will systematically help them improve their results and grades. These are some of the projects that students have prepared, and they had to present them orally in class. So, and after all, teaching is about changing the course of my student lives and shaping those adolescents' personalities and providing them with the necessary tools and skills to become effective citizens in their communities and to become global citizens. I have put these pictures because they were really happy moments for me and for my students. That was all. Thank you very much. I hope I didn't take long.
Very impressive, Mrs. Mona. I really congratulate you. You are
Thank you very much.
Inspiration. Well,
thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
See, Kamel?
Can you hear me?
I really had an enjoyable experience in collaboration with you, Mrs. Mona. I always, insist that it's lovely to be open to other teachers and work together and share experiences. It's so enjoyable.
Yeah. You're absolutely right.
Thank you, Mrs. Bouhlel. Kamel?
Thank you.
Hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Kamel. Yeah.
Thank you very much for a very insightful presentation. Right idea. We are also proud of you, and I'm sure that all the colleagues share the same attitude. Thank you very much for whatever you do with your learners. Work that you together as well, because working in teams has, like you, want to inspire colleagues to work together, because teamwork is a culture and should be part of our regular practices. Thank you again for that. Now, you've started, Mrs. with complaints about teachers complaining about the textbooks. Yes, sure. Many teachers have the same feelings about attitude about textbooks. Any outdated lessons. Might have noticed that in skipped lessons or the lessons that are not to be covered among the lessons, omitted some of lessons.
I can't hear well, please. I think we have the trouble of sound again. Louder, please. Hello, or closer. Closer.
Yes. Kamel, the quality of the sound is not really that good.
Okay. I have changed my headphones. Okay. What about now?
It's better now. It's much better now.
Much better.
Okay. Now, I said something about teachers' complaints in relation to the outdated lessons, and if you noticed that in the skipped lessons for this year, we have omitted some of them, the ones you've suggested at the beginning of your presentation. You've adopted an approach of adding things to the existing lessons or the existing contents in the textbooks, and this is appreciated, which is something not easy to do. And you've mentioned at the end of your presentation that it is something that it is really, it needs hard work, by the way. It needs hard work, and not all teachers can go through this process. But as far as you work on clear objectives, you know the reality of your students better than anyone else. So working on the same objectives with different contents, you've opted for another reading passage. You've substituted the text that it is in the lesson with another one, but the objectives are practically the same. The words are practically the same and related to the same context. I'd like personally to thank you for that. Now, I'm interested in our colleagues' comments. So anyone would like to participate, to say a few words before I hand over to Mr. Labidi and Mr. Najjar to communicate some of their ideas based on their long experience in teacher supervision and as textbook designers as well. So first of all, let's start with colleagues, teachers, participants. anyone would like to add a comment, so please come in. Otherwise, Mr. Najjar, would you like to start giving us some comments? If you are still with us, I cannot see them.
Yeah. Okay, sure.
Fine.
Sure. Okay, thank you. I'd like to start by thanking the two presenters, Mrs. Sawsen Abid, whom I had the opportunity to meet a few years ago, and Mrs. Bouhlel. I'd like to thank them for the quality of the presentation. I just wish to start about this idea of adapting the content of the books, or the course books in general. It is true that most books in Tunisia were written many years ago. I think the latest one was the fourth year textbook, and that was written in 2007. I happen to be one of the textbook writers, and I strongly believe that a teacher's role is to cater for his or her students' needs and levels. And Kamel, a few minutes ago, you rightly put it, a teacher or the teacher is the only one who knows his students' needs much better than anybody else. So textbooks are not the Bible or the Quran. You say they are there. They were produced by people who had their students in mind. They are by no means perfect. And if we try to give a definition to a teacher, to me, a teacher is a creative facilitator, a professional creative facilitator. When we say professional, it doesn't mean that he is a slave to the book. Far from that. The teacher knows his students much better than anybody else. He knows their level. He knows their needs. Ms. Sawsen Abid works in a pioneer school, and let's be clear about it. Students in a pioneer school are not the same as students in, and sorry to put it between inverted commas, an ordinary school, you say. So all teachers, and we work with mixed ability classes, all teachers are, I think, required professionally to be a little creative, to adapt the content of the books to the level and again to the needs of their students. But at the same time, let's agree on another important element. These textbooks, until they change, and let's hope they will change soon, until they change, they are official documents. When I say official, it doesn't mean that these textbooks, because they are outdated, will be thrown away. There are things which need to be, if you like, kept. And Mrs. Bouhlel in her presentation rightly put it. If we look at a lesson and identify the objectives of that lesson, and if we are really professional and really creative facilitators, then we may supplement the content of that lesson, complying or respecting the objectives of that lesson, by adding, by deleting, by changing the sequence of the activities, by changing the questions asked. Now we're talking about life skills and 21st century skills. If we look at the old textbooks, our old textbooks, maybe the textbook writers at that time did not have a clear idea about life skills. So there is no harm in adding now a question or in adapting our questions or our questioning techniques so that, and to just quote a part of the title of Mrs. Abid's presentation, so that we can guarantee some kind of deep learning. Say. So again, textbooks are not, if like the Bible or the Quran, they need to be added they need to be supplemented. That we need as teachers to be creative, and this is our job. It takes time, it takes training too, a lot of patience, and hopefully things will be somehow improved in the coming weeks, months. Maybe my colleagues who are still on the job can say a few things about how long this will take. Thank you for this, choosing this title, if you like, or this topic for your webinar. I find it really, really interesting and really, really useful. Again, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Najjar, for all these ideas. I cannot agree anymore with what you have been saying. And I would like to add that on the basis of some of my readings, maybe I've came across ideas such as the types of teachers. There are maybe 3 types of teachers. Teachers who use or who are totally dependent on textbooks, and I mean here novice teachers. They cannot get rid of they cannot get rid of the textbook. This is the first type, novice teachers, and they feel more secure when using the textbook. The second type of teachers, maybe they are more experienced teachers who might reject totally the textbook. There are teachers in the world who are not convinced with the use of textbooks. And the third type, which is the middle one, in the middle, they come in the middle, and I appreciate that working with this type of teachers who use the current or the existing material, and they, as Mr. Najjar has put it, they adapt, they supplement content, they delete content, they add, keeping the objectives and of course abiding by the official language, English language programs. So this is really a good idea to add concerning the use and managing the current textbooks. Now, Mr. Labidi, please, would you like to add a few things if you want? Please.
Yeah, thank you, Kamel. Thank you, Kamel. Well, I'd like to start by thanking the presenter. I thank the organizer of this webinar, and I thank them for the pertinence of the topic. Adapting textbooks is a very pertinent topic. Sarshid has said it all, but a few things I'd like to say is that textbooks, as the presenters already said, are important, are fundamental to the teacher because they provide guidance, security, they are framework. But even if we have high quality textbooks, teacher should not teach them as religious books. They should not follow them as religious books. They are not sacred. They have to adapt them. And I think teachers have always adapted textbooks. When they explain, when they supply, when they delete, when they add, when they shorten long texts, all these are kind of adaptations. So I think when they prepare lesson, when they prepare coherent lesson from the material in the textbook, that's adaptation. Even if the books are, as I said, high quality and are new or current. But the problem with our textbooks, as has already been mentioned, they have become obsolete, they are outdated, and nowadays it doesn't make sense. As one of the presenters said, the new generation of school learners are tech savvy, they are digital natives. Technology is in every aspect of their lives. It doesn't make sense that when they get into the classroom, they find themselves light years behind their real life outside. So teachers have to incorporate a bit of technology in their teaching. I know many teachers are afraid of technology because the pupils know far much better than them, but if they want to engage their pupils, if they want to get them motivated, interested and motivated in the lesson, they have to find ways to incorporate a little bit of technology. They will not have all the lesson based on technology, but even 5-10 minutes per day where they incorporate technology to motivate the pupil. Otherwise, they will not get the pupils motivated, engaged in the lesson, and the pupil switch off if they find outdated material, outdated teaching methods. So teacher have to cope. In my region, I have green-lighted teacher to supplement the textbooks, and even I asked them to involve the pupil in this way of supplementing. I asked them to tell the pupil to bring picture, to bring texts, to bring podcasts, etc., so that they use them. In this way, they will try to bring life to the textbooks, and this is one way of coping until we change the textbooks. And I know that in Tunisia, you know, the financial problem of the country, and we haven't managed to change them because there is a problem of funding. I hope in the coming couple of years things will change, hopefully. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Labidi, for all these additions. I do concur with all what you have said. Any more comments from colleagues? Please come in if there are any more comments, any interactions.
Maybe from Mrs. Najat Hosni, see Kamel?
Yes,
if she is still with
Mrs.
us.
Hosni. Are you still there, Mrs. Hosni? Yes, Mrs. Ahlam.
I think she left.
Hi. Hi, can you hear me?
So, yeah. Yes, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mrs. Hosni. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I've got a problem of connection. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So it was a real pleasure to.
Mrs. Ahlam, we'll get back to you. Sorry, Mrs. Hosni. We'll get back to you, Mrs. Ahlam. Go ahead, Mrs. Hosni. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Yeah. So I'm so happy and I'm really pleased, yeah, to hear today the voice of Sinajar. Hello, Sinajar. We miss you. We miss you, Sinajar. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Najat. Thank you very much. That's so kind of you.
You are always missed, you know. Okay, you're a great guy. I can never forget you. Never. Yeah, you are a mentor for me. Yeah. Yes. Thank you so much. I've learned a lot from you. Yeah. It's really a good. Yeah, a good topic, yeah, an issue that you have raised today about book adaptation. And this morning, I trained teachers on teaching vocabulary, and today is with the high school teachers, and yesterday with the private school teachers, and we raised the issue of adapting their textbooks. Yeah, it's true that it's high time. We changed our textbooks, as Habib raised the topic. There are some difficulties and challenges facing the teachers, the inspectors, and the Ministry of Education. We're going to work on that, but till that time takes place where this happens, we need to be creative. And I do agree with you, Sinajar, that it's not a question of bringing rich vocabulary to the teachers and added materials, but you have also to adapt it to other needs, to 21st century skills, to life skills. And even when you mentioned some of the teachers today raised the issue, the life skill of critical thinking and creative thinking, you have to develop them among your students, but also think of other topics like gender equality and human rights. And you know that I'm an advocate of gender equality. So let's start by mentioning that a teacher is not always he. Yeah, so it's he and she. Yeah. So we have to work on that, and we have to. I'm so pleased and I'm really impressed by the work that teachers are doing with their students. And I've always said it to people, to my colleagues, that the teachers of English, inspectors, are pioneers. I'm so happy to be part of your team. I'm so happy to belong to this team, and I'm always. I will always be a lifelong learner. Thank you for your invitation, and I was looking, you know that today I'm with you, and it was so hard to be with you because I moved to a place, yeah, quite far away from the capital. So I'm struggling to be connected. I hope that you can hear me because I'm outside. It's raining, and I'm trying to to be connected with you.
We
So
can hear you perfectly, Mrs. Mrs. Hosni. Now, great. That's fine.
Okay, good. So I was expecting to meet my mentor today, but unfortunately he could not join us. He made Lahsini. I owe a lot to that great man. I've learned a lot from that great man. So I'm looking forward to meeting him again. And please, if you have his information contact, I would be so pleased to get them. Thank you so much. Thank you for everyone. So. And remember that together, achieve better. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye. We are pleased to have you among us. Thank you very much. And Sil Habib is always in charge of that, and he will keep in touch with Mr. Hsini. And it will be he will be invited in another occasion, I'm sure. We'll be working on that in the future. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you.
Okay, so many ideas are actually shared. So more comments, please, Mrs. Ahlam. Come in, please.
Yes. Good evening. Do you hear me?
Good evening. Yes, we can. Thank you.
Yeah. So I've got some problems of connection. So don't know whether you hear me clearly or not.
Yeah, it's okay. Go ahead. We can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I would say something that would look like a question. So saying, or we as teachers, as classroom practitioners, we tend to say texts or textbooks are outdated. So I would say that we must use the word outdated with prudence, because sometimes I think that the problem is not really in the textbook itself being outdated, but there is a certain, that's a personal, let's say, point of view. There is a gap between classroom practitioners and the textbook
Could you just
designers.
repeat the idea, Mrs. Ahlam? Could you just repeat the idea, please?
Yeah, I would say that there is...
Sorry to interrupt you, Mrs. Ahlam. Sorry.
Yeah, it's
Could you just repeat from the point of there is a gap? Could you just repeat?
There is a gap between classroom practitioners, teachers, and textbook designers. A gap in terms of that textbook designers. We must admit that they have so much literature behind, so much training. They know much more than we do. I would say that out of a personal experience, so sometimes I used to say that what for we're teaching, for example, about David Beckham, for example. I used to say what for this question in this lesson, but after just attending with you in this webinar, just trying to get in myself better, I found that questions there, it was not, let's say, sorry to say that, a silly question. It was a deep question, which me as a teacher did not notice that. So the problem was not that the text or was outdated or the questions were not well designed, but the problem was with me. There is a gap between what I know and what we find in the textbook. So that's why I say sometimes that we need perhaps, or the ministry itself, to invest much more money in training teachers, perhaps, rather than designing textbooks, I would say. That's my remark.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Ahlam. You are. It's good to communicate your thoughts and ideas and your feelings and impressions about the textbooks in general. It's your absolute right, and you have maybe a different attitude from the others. It's your right to say that.
Sure, yes.
Mr. Najjar said that, talked about training. Actually, many teachers need training, and it's the job of teacher trainers to maybe to clarify things. Now, in some, and for most of the textbooks, if you have noticed, there are teachers' guides. They are there to help teachers, but we don't want actually to enslave teachers and to bind them with these teachers' guides. They are there to help the teachers and to clarify the approach and the teaching methodology and many ideas related to the contents that are displayed in the textbooks and so on. Now, training is maybe a key concept here, and we are working on that. But make sure that the things that are in the textbooks, I mean, what you find in a student book is not actually the teaching methodology. You find the activities, and it's up to you to manage that activity or to plan that activity on the basis of the teaching approach chosen by the Ministry of Education or referring to the English language program. So there are many, there's much work ahead, sure. So please get the help of your colleagues, ask whenever you want. So we are here to help you, and this is one of the objectives of our events. We want to help teachers with all the difficulties that they might face. So we may have some more comments from colleagues. Yes, Sil Habib, can you just tell me who the next person is, because I didn't follow the raised hands, please?
It's the same thing here. So if any of our colleagues or any of the participants would like to say something, so please just say it.
I think it's Layla Mrabit, are you saying?
Okay, welcome, yes. Mrs. Mrabit.
Come in, Mrs. Layla, come in.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I congratulate both ladies. They are really a source of inspiration, really. They've done a great job. I'm impressed, really. But my question to Mrs. Muna Bouhlel, please, because this is in relation to the remark I wanted to say. Could she do all that job with the fourth formers, those students who are overwhelmed and overburdened with the other subjects? Could she do all that with them? If she could, really, I hats off to her. That's the point I wanted to say, that the fourth form program is a bit long for those students who normally should come to the end of the year by April, not May. So how could we get out of the classroom, make learning active and creative, and make them practice the language in lifelike situations, and be with them, coach them on all those occasions, and at the same time have to respect the official program. And I see that all the inspectors focus on that word, official program. So we have to stick to it. Of course, it's not sacred, but we have to cover all what is recommended there. So how could she do this? That's my question, and that's the point I wanted to participate with in this meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Layla Mrabit. Now the question is to Mrs. Muna. So please come in, Mrs. Muna.
Yeah, I'm here. Well, thank you for your question, Mrs. Mrabit. Well, I see what you mean. Well, in fact, when I deal with projects with the four formers, I do not, honestly, I do not give all these projects to one class. So, for example, if I have 3 projects or 4 projects in mind, I assign a project to every class. And it's not the whole class that would take part, it's a group of people. These projects work successfully mainly with the arts branch, the fourth form arts. You see what I mean? They have more time. I mean, they have 5 hours English a week. And most of these projects, I do them with the arts branch. So this is concerning the fourth formers. Did I answer your question?
Yes, I see.
Yeah, and I always try to motivate them. You know, sometimes I resort to telling them, okay, we work on this seriously and you have a prize. A prize, it can be a very good oral mark, especially if the project is very well done, very well presented. So why not give them a very good grade for the oral test? If it is well presented, if it is seriously done, I do allocate good marks in the oral mark. So it's a way to motivate them. And I think that from the beginning of the year, I always try to insert in their minds that the project work is part of their learning process. Okay, that's it. I would like to say something else. I don't want to be misunderstood when I said that I do not use the textbooks in the when I deal with the first unit for the third formers and fourth formers. The issues or the topics dealt with are really important. It's just sometimes it's just the text itself, which is a little bit old. As I said, it's the cyber generation. And I want to keep my students really interested. You know, I teach I do not teach in a pioneer school, so it's just a normal school. We have high achievers, we have less good achievers, and I want to draw the attention of all of my students. A video can draw the attention of all students of all levels. You see what I mean? And I use also songs. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I use also songs whenever I can. I use songs, and I made it a kind of habit with the third formers. I try to choose a song for every module, 6 modules, so 6 songs, as a way to motivate students. And there is one lesson in the third form textbook, which is about genetic engineering. I don't know if there are any colleagues who deal with the same textbook, genetic engineering. Honestly, at the beginning of my career, I found it very hard to deal with genetic engineering and how to teach it, because it's full of scientific terms. And sometimes, and I thought to myself, what would students do with this one, especially the economy branch or the techniques branch? Then slowly, with the years and with the experience, I found a way how to deal with it, how to introduce some of the scientific concepts, how to have these students work on a project work, how to work in groups, how to present their opinions, how to deal with, or how to have an opinion, how to have a voice concerning, for example, cloning, the cloning issue. It's all about motivating the students and tell the students that they are at the heart of the learning process. I always tell my students, you are the one who do the lessons. It's not me. I'm just here to guide you. I will listen to your arguments, whether you are for, whether you are against, and we are going to use these arguments in our writing or in our paragraphs. And I think that raises their self-confidence and motivation and determination to do something and to improve their level in English.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Mrabit. Now I can see that you are managing very well with your students and with the fourth program or textbook. So there are no problems with that. Now, please let me remind all colleagues, all teachers, that we have to be careful when adapting the current contents, because the textbooks are there to unify actually the work in the whole country. And what I mean here especially is working practically on the same objectives in relation, for example, to the target vocabulary. So we need, there's no harm in supplementing the existing texts or audio material, but keeping the same target words, because you know that our system is based on marks, on exams, and we do not we don't want to fall into that trap by the end of the year, having teachers in a part of the country teaching something really different from the others, because you know in national exams we have to meet the same targets. So this is a very interesting point to consider. Otherwise, there is no harm in supplementing the existing material depending on your context, where you are teaching, the type of students you are dealing with. Okay, so more comments, please, from colleagues. Come in. Sil Habib, Mrs. Lama Atwi, maybe, who wants to take turn in giving some comments?
Yeah, thank you, Kamel. I think,
yes, go ahead.
Thank you. You stated that clearly. So we're not advocating throwing away our textbooks. I think Mr. Najjar has stated this clearly earlier. So what we are doing is simply adapting textbooks. There's an acronym here, though I don't like this acronym, which refers to COVID-19. It's called, and it is SAS. It stands for selecting the activities to work on during any lesson, and the A stands for adapting. So you adapt the activity to suit and to cater for the needs of the learners. And we all agree that no textbook in the world, even the good ones, they cannot cater or meet the needs of all its users or all its learners. So there's always a need to adapt them and to adjust them. And the R stands for rejecting. There are some activities that the teacher can simply reject and choose not to work on. And the last letter stands for supplementing, so adding supplementary material. So I think by using this approach to textbooks, we're always on the safe side, as you've mentioned, because we have national exams, and because we have the curriculum, the official programs. So we have to stick to the skills taught, but we could do things differently. So teachers could, as I said, and I reiterate that, so could select, adapt, reject, or supplement any of the activities. And again, let me reiterate and state it clearly. We're not advocating throwing away our textbooks. They are always kind of security. And I think that Mrs. Abid and Mrs. Sawsen Abid and Mrs. Muna Bouhlel stated that clearly. So again, thank you, a big thank you to the two ladies for their pertinent ideas. Thank you to our colleagues, Si Najjar, Si Lamjad, Mrs. Hosni, and thank you, Si Kamel, and to all the participants. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Sil Habib, for these clarifications and for the SAR approach. That's really great. Any more comments from colleagues before we close this webinar? It's almost high time we wrapped it up, actually. So any more comments from colleagues? We'd like more teachers to share their experiences with us in the future. Please follow us on the Facebook group. So we'd like to hear from you. And the number is really great tonight. So many participants, thank you very much for attending. Many thanks should go also to our colleagues for sustaining us. And there is some kind of promise, let me put it carefully, from the Ministry of Education, maybe there will be some kind of work on the existing textbooks. Now, initially, now it's a kind, at the same time, I'm a little bit frustrated because the Ministry of Education promised to change totally the current textbooks, but then maybe they said that it's hard to change them totally, but kind of renovation is going to be done, and we don't know the outcome, but at least there is a step towards that in the future, and we promise to work hard on that and get the attitudes of teachers and consider all the things you've communicated and more things maybe that come from other colleagues who are not here. We are working with teachers who maybe do not have the possibility to attend webinars for different reasons, and we are in touch with them in training sessions, and we always gather information from them. So thank you very much. Mrs. Hosni, you want to say something? Okay. Mrs. Muna, again, please come in. No voice. We cannot hear you.
Sorry. Yeah. I forgot about my microphone. I thought I saw a comment from one colleague who said, "Why don't you read the comments on the chat box?" I have read some of them, and I would like to thank all these colleagues, these nice colleagues who I think bombarded, if you like, the chat box with positive words and encouraging words. Thank you very much for everyone, and thank you
Sorry
for you.
that, because I couldn't keep an eye on the chat. Thank you for reminding me of that, and thank you for all the interactions, whether verbally or in a written form.
Yeah.
So I could see some of them actually. Yes. Who has
Kamel? Kamel?
Yes. Yes, go ahead.
Kamel, I think that Mrs. Zurgari has made it finally, and she's with us. So, Mrs. Zurgari, if you would like to say a few words about the topic, so please go ahead.
Mrs. Zurgati, come in. Can you hear us? I cannot see her name. But,
she might be, yeah, she might be facing some technical issues. So if we couldn't hear from her, so it's over to you, Kamel, I think, to wrap up this webinar.
Yeah, there's much to say concerning the topic, and it's not the end. It's just the beginning of the work. It's the beginning, and it's always nice to hear from colleagues. Hello, come in.
Mrs. Atwi, yeah.
Yeah, Mrs. Atwi, finally, I managed to join you, not in writing. I just want to thank Madame Bouhlel and Madame Abid for the ideas they shared. They gave us concrete examples of how to adapt textbooks, both for prep schools and secondary schools. So thank you very much for that. And we understand the frustration of many colleagues, especially the novice ones, those who are lacking in experience. But I think that by sharing and by reaching out to more experienced teachers, and also to colleagues like today you saw Si Najjar, we always learn from him, Si Abidi, they shared their point of view about the topic, and we keep learning from each other. So I think this is a good way to try to find a way out until hopefully we change the textbooks or we revamp them, inshallah. Meanwhile, we keep working and we keep sharing our expertise, as I said. So thank you very much for all of those who willingly participate in our webinars. You're giving us, you're lending, how to say that, you support us. That's what I wanted to say. And you're supporting also all your colleagues. So thank you very much to all of you. And inshallah, as Kamel said, more will be volunteering to present their classroom work and share what they are doing in class with us and with their colleagues. So thank you all, and see you inshallah in the next webinar.
Thank you, Mrs. Lema. You've wrapped it up actually, and I'm glad that we are sharing the same attitudes, the same worries, and let's be hopeful about that. And let's keep in touch through the Facebook group or through emails and all the possibilities to get in touch and to share ideas. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. Okay, good night to everyone. Thank you.